Hiker killed by lion. Lone hiker killed in suspected mountain lion attack in Colorado. First fatal incident in over 25 years. A tragic incident unfolded in the rugged mountains of northern Colorado on Thursday when a woman hiking alone was killed in what authorities believe was a mountain lion attack. The first fatal encounter with the species in the state in more than 25 years. And now, we dive into the heart of this story right here on the AI podcast.
Okay, let's unpack this. We are focusing today on an event that's, well, it's tragically real. But when you look at the stats, it's almost impossible.
It really is.
We're talking about the suspected fatal mountain lion attack on a woman hiking alone in the mountains of northern Colorado. This happened just south of the community of Glen Haven, in that rugged terrain that, backs right up against Rocky Mountain National Park.
And the reason this just immediately became a national headline is purely down to its rarity. I mean, it's just so profoundly rare.
Okay.
We know from the documentation that if this is confirmed, if it's confirmed as a mountain lion attack, it would be the first fatal one in Colorado in more than a quarter century.
Quarter century.
Over 25 years. And that sheer span of time, that's really the most crucial piece of data we have here.
That context basically defines the entire event, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So today we're going to be extracting the critical details from all the materials we have. We'll dive into the location, the immediate response, the history, the biology of the predator, so you could really grasp why this one incident is so significant.
Makes sense.
So let's start with the specific location. The incident took place on the Crosier Mountain Trail.
Right.
Now this trail, it winds through national forest land, and it's situated about 7 miles northeast of Estes Park. Most people know Estes Park as the gateway to Rocky Mountain National Park's eastern entrance. We are talking about quintessential mountain lion country.
Absolutely. The habitat is, I think, central to understanding this whole encounter. Colorado Parks and Wildlife, or CPW.
CPW.
They made it very clear that this specific area, Larimer County, is considered excellent mountain lion habitat.
So not just okay habitat, but excellent.
Exactly. This is not some marginal area. It's prime real estate for these cats. And the CPW spokesperson, Cara Van Hoos, she also emphasized that the time of year this happened is routinely when they get the most mountain lion sightings and reports.
And these trails, I mean, we're not talking about paved paths, are we?
No, not at all. They're described as very remote, wooded, rocky, and with significant elevation gains and dips. It's really the kind of environment where a solitary ambush predator is completely in its element.
So any human presence, especially someone alone, it's an intrusion into the cat's home.
It is, and in that remote territory, the discovery itself was just shocking. The woman was found shortly before noon by 2 other hikers.
2 hikers stumbled upon the scene.
Yeah, along a really remote stretch of the trail. But here's the most critical detail, and the reason the authorities responded so drastically. These 2 hikers also encountered a mountain lion in the immediate vicinity of the body.
Wow. Right there. So that encounter, it must have forced an immediate, almost primal reaction. What exactly did they do?
They reacted perfectly, actually. They leveraged their size and their aggression. The sources say they threw rocks at the animal.
Okay.
And they did this for 2 reasons. One, to scare the lion away from themselves, obviously, but also to try and reach the victim to render aid.
And one of them was a physician, I read.
That's right. One of the hikers was a physician who very quickly confirmed the woman had already passed away. No pulse.
So the authorities then respond quickly and very decisively to lock down the area.
They did. Later that same day, wildlife officers located 2 mountain lions in the vicinity, and they fatally shot both animals.
Both of them.
Both of them. And at the time the reports came out, CPW said the search for more mountain lions was still ongoing. Critically, what they did next would depend heavily on the circumstances and behavior of animals found in the vicinity.
So they're trying to figure out if this was an isolated thing, a pair, or a bigger issue with habituated animals in the area.
Exactly. And it's really important to remember that they didn't immediately release details about her injuries or the official cause of death. The priority was securing the area for humans.
That rapid, aggressive response, I mean, that tells you just how seriously they treat an anomaly like this. Here's where it gets really interesting for me. The statistical rarity. That's what we have to get into next. This potential fatality is the first in Colorado in over 25 years? That's just staggering.
It is. It absolutely shows that this level of aggression towards humans is nearly non-existent, even with thousands of people recreating in that area and a pretty significant mountain lion population.
So when we dive into Colorado's history of fatal attacks, the picture becomes even more stark.
It does.
Walk us through the specific incidents before this one, because that history really frames what a true anomaly this is.
Okay, so the last documented fatal attack before this was way back in 1999. Tragically, it was a 3-year-old child.
The toddler.
Yeah. And before that, in 1997, a 10-year-old boy was killed and actually dragged away while hiking with his family inside Rocky Mountain National Park.
So geographically, these attacks are all kind of clustered in the same general region. High-density habitat, lots of people.
That's the intersection.
So we're talking about 2 previous fatal incidents in the modern era, and both involved young children. That suggests that adult hikers, like the victim in this current case, are an even less likely target. Does CPW have any data on why children might be disproportionately represented here?
They do, and it relates directly to the predator's instinct. Mountain lions hunt based on shape, movement, and context. An adult standing tall, talking, moving purposefully, that's instantly recognizable as not a deer or elk.
Not prey.
Not prey, but a child is smaller, they move closer to the ground, they can have erratic sort of fleeing movements. And in the cat's mind, if it's hidden, that smaller creature moving like that might just trigger that predatory response. It's what biologists call prey acquisition behavior.
Which explains why these events are so incredibly rare. The lion's own hunting patterns usually rule out human adults. And this rarity isn't unique to Colorado either.
No, not at all. These animals profoundly avoid human confrontation pretty much all across North America. The sources also mention another recent but still very rare attack in Northern California last year.
The one with the 2 brothers.
That's the one. 2 brothers were stalked and attacked, and it resulted in 1 fatality. It just underscores that while the risk is incredibly low when you're deep in their environment, that potential for a catastrophic failure in that species barrier, it always exists.
So that's the whole investigative angle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Determining what unique combination of circumstances led to this 1 in a million outcome. Was the animal sick? Was it protecting a kill? Was the victim mistaken for prey? But to really grasp the gravity here, we need to understand the sheer power involved. Let's talk about the cat itself.
Yeah, the magnificent cat. We know it by so many names. Mountain lion, cougar, puma, catamount.
Right.
But whatever you call it, we're talking about a solitary, powerful, and just an utterly effective predator.
Give us some of the physical metrics. What kind of power are we really talking about here?
We really need to respect the biological specifications. A mature mountain lion can weigh up to 130 pounds, and they can grow to be more than 6 feet long, and that's not including their tail.
He's like a rudder, right? For balance.
Exactly, but it's their musculature that defines them. Their hind legs are basically springs. They are capable of jumping vertically over 15 feet straight up.
15 feet.
And they can leap horizontally 40 to 50 feet in a single bound.
40 feet from a standstill. That's shocking speed. What about their primary weapon, their bite? How does the bite force compare to other big cats?
Well, it's difficult to measure precisely in the wild, but estimates suggest a bite force of several hundred pounds per square inch, all concentrated at the canine teeth.
And they're designed for a very specific kind of kill.
They are. It's designed for a quick, suffocating neck bite, usually at the base of the skull or the throat. It's meant to instantly sever the spinal cord or restrict airflow to large prey like deer or even elk. They rely on overwhelming force in an instant and then a quick drag to cover.
And that immense power is usually used against deer, which are their main food source, and a good indicator of how healthy the ecosystem is. But Colorado has a pretty big managed population of these animals.
That's right. Colorado is estimated to be home to between 3,800 and 4,400 mountain lions. And this population isn't just left to its own devices. They're legally classified as a big game species.
So they're hunted.
They are. It's legally hunted under regulated seasons and quotas, and this regulated hunting is a central part of wildlife management. It's designed to keep the populations healthy and to, mitigate conflict where human development pushes into their territory.
So even with regulated hunting and a robust population, fatal attacks are still once-in-a-generation events. Which brings us back to the big question. Why did that rarity break this time? What are the known factors that can turn a naturally shy cat into an aggressor?
Biologists usually narrow it down to about 5 possibilities, which the CPW investigation will now be trying to confirm. The first is starvation or sickness, like rabies, which can compromise the cat's natural caution.
Okay, so a desperate or sick animal.
Right. The second is territorial defense, though that usually involves defending a kill from other predators, not people. The third is habituation, where a cat gets too used to humans.
Usually through illegal feeding or easy access to pets or something.
Exactly. It leads to a loss of fear.
And the final two.
Those would be mistaken identity, which often happens at dawn or dusk when the light is low, or maternal defense, a mother protecting her kittens. But that's rare and usually just involves a defensive charge, not a full-on fatal attack.
So given the swift, decisive nature of this attack and the quick response, the investigation is probably leaning toward extreme hunger, sickness, or a very, very rare case of predatory behavior toward an adult human.
That would be my guess.
Which leads right into the complexity of the response.
Yeah.
CPW officers located and shot 2 mountain lions immediately near the body. Given how rare these attacks are and how hard it must be to identify the specific culprit, how do they manage that pressure of balancing public safety with conservation in that moment?
It's an agonizing but necessary protocol. When a fatal attack happens, especially on an adult human, CPW just can't wait for lab confirmation. They have to look for behavioral indicators.
Like what?
Well, did the lion flee immediately when the hikers confronted it? Or did it linger? Was it acting aggressively or abnormally bold? The very fact that the hikers had to throw rocks to scare it away is a massive red flag.
A huge warning sign.
A huge one. An animal that loses its fear threshold in a place where people recreate, that poses an unacceptable public risk.
So the decision to eliminate 2 lions wasn't necessarily proof that both were involved, but more an immediate, necessary action based on abnormal, high-risk behavior they showed right there at the scene of a fatality.
Precisely. They're mitigating the immediate risk posed by any animal that has overcome its natural, healthy fear of humans. They have to protect the public first. At the same time, they're gathering evidence from those animals to see if they were sick or starving or maybe involved in other conflicts.
And that helps them decide if they need to keep searching or if the risk has been contained.
That's it, exactly.
We've established the deep context of this tragedy. It's a true anomaly set in an established, managed habitat. So what's the single most important takeaway here for you, the listener?
I think the key takeaway is really understanding the true risk calculation. You have tens of thousands of people hiking in excellent cougar habitat every single day, yet a fatal attack happens, once every generation. The tragedy reaffirms that while the overall risk is minuscule, the potential consequences are absolute.
Right.
So for the person who is hiking or recreating, the knowledge you gain is just how unique the circumstances have to be. A sick cat, a desperate cat, a 1 in a million case of mistaken identity to overcome that mountain lion's natural, profound aversion to confronting a human.
And that profound conflict is exactly what CPW has to resolve. The source material noted that after they eliminated the 2 lions, any further action like searching for more cats was dependent on the circumstances and behavior of animals found in the vicinity. That decision-making framework is fascinating.
It is.
They eliminate the immediate apparent threats. But then the decision to stop searching, to declare the area safe again, is based entirely on interpreting the subtle behaviors of the animals they didn't find. And this leaves us to consider the tremendous complexity of wildlife management. You're balancing the protection of a species with the visceral human need to secure an environment after such a rare and terrible event. It's a profound thought to take with you the next time you find yourself alone on a remote trail.
Okay, one question for you. Was killing the mountain lions necessary, or could non-lethal measures have been used? Don't forget to comment it. Thanks.